Good morning, everybody, and this is your S&P 500 day trade setup for today. So a couple of things on the go here. So the first thing is we'll pretty much pull back onto structure right here, and that was one of the levels I gave you yesterday, which was 42.38. Found some support there, and boom. Basically, I mean, the bulk of the volumes was buying up. It was done sort of in the last hour of close. So anyway, so that's kind of a little bit of buying. This worries me immensely. So the oscillators group like that really does worry me. There are so many signals here that is just screaming, be careful. So first things first, what I want to do is let's just delete everything so I can just show you what I'm looking to do here. So the first thing that I want to do is this top trend line. Okay, there it is there. All right, then let's just we can take that one. That gives us an intersecting trend line, or we can take that one, or even something like that. Let's just do that. Okay, that just gives you a picture. Right, now you can see what I've done. I have a rising wedge. Rising wedge are bearish. Okay, we do have a break above the previous high here, and I'm just going to add another level because there is another fractional level right here. So that is the current area of support. So I won't say it's the floor at the moment, but that is 42.50 is the current area of support. And those of you who watch me for a while will know that a break above a triangle like that, the probability of it continuing is 25% or less. So I'm not interested in chasing this at the moment. This is a pretty well defined sort of level here. You can see 1, 2, and you can argue that that's 3, 4, 5 touches, and then we break through. This just has exhaustion bar written all over it. If we come down to the 3 hour, and this is where you're going to start seeing a little bit more structure. There is another level in amongst here. It's just kind of there, which you can see is parallel to that one, and that is a break above it. So right now I'm not really interested. I mean, I haven't been interested in buying. This was a buying opportunity down here, and I'll give it to you on the hour, and you'll see what we're looking at. It would probably worth a risk. Wouldn't have been something that I would have put out on the Telegram channel, because it would have been more like a 55% probability of moving up with what I'd seen already. So ultimately trend is up, so we should not be looking to be shorting just yet. We're looking for longs. If we move to the levels that we can trade, or the time frames that we can trade, you can see how beautifully this is set up. So we had all this rejection up here, oscillators grouped to the upside. I mean, you could have actually short scalped this if you really wanted to, and you were looking for all the levels to buy into, and this was the first one here. Okay, and then you can see a little bit low down was that tail there. So you can see these tails, which lines up with that tail, and then this tail, which kind of lines up with these tails. But the reason why that has always been open for a retest is, firstly, there were gaps down here. Remember, I gave you those gaps yesterday, 5 minutes. So have a look. We'll talk about today's, but remember I gave you these gaps here. This gap down here is still open, but all the other little gaps along all the way down were basically closed. Now look what happened yesterday in that last sort of hour of trading. Look at all these gaps. Okay, so that is fairly worrying as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so that pullback onto structure, you could see it was pretty solid, well worth the opportunity of getting into it, maybe with a small position and a wide stop loss, because this trend line would have, if it had gone further, this trend line would have held it up and would have brought back, which you would have been able to get out of a losing trade. But that was an opportunity, which not that I took it, but anyway, for today, look at the oscillators again, and you can see whenever we group to the upside, so it's kind of like a pattern, group to the upside, then sell off, and then going into the close we buy. Yeah, you can see that was data, big up, big down on the data. But this here, I suspect we're going to probably pull back, if not onto this trend line to come and try and defend it, which will be around 42.30, 42.55, somewhere back into this area. All these gaps up here, I suspect we come all the way down. Remember, there is data tomorrow, so this is kind of just treading water, to be honest. It looks like a big bar, but in the bigger scheme of things, if you look at where we closed there to where we closed there, that's pretty much a 0.2% move. So it's a very small move. Oscillated all group to the upside. I'm not interested in jumping in on this at the moment. So yeah, it's starting to look very, very, very top heavy. And I think tomorrow is going to be telling. See what the Feds come out with tomorrow. Yeah, I really can't see what they can say that's going to push us up further. They need to let the markets get back into its natural cycles of up and down. But until they do that, we're going to have this elevated sort of situation at the moment. But then what happens is the volatility is just going to increase because the opportunity, the fear of it selling off is going to be there. Then the slightest move to the downside is going to trigger a lot of people selling off. Anyway, enough of a ramble for me. I'm still on sidelines until the Feds are finished with their nonsense tomorrow. So I'll just sit and wait, watch this at the moment. If you are going to trade it, pay attention to these gaps. Gaps all over the place. I wouldn't be willing to get into this at the moment. I'm also a little bit skeptical about shorting, but it may be worth it just seeing what happens in during the European session, sort of a break below this pin bar here. What is that? The low there is 42.60. So if we get a close below that and a retest of that, it may open the door for a move to the downside. But you don't know what this is at. Somebody knows something. That's why the buyers came in. Somebody knows something. Somebody always knows something. But anyway, I'm sitting on the sidelines. I'll wait for a little bit more structure to jump in on this. I'm not convinced that this is showing any structure. This could also be just a little bit of a trap, just to get us all excited and jump in for this, ready for a push down, just building all the long positions and moving the stops up closer so that when those stops get triggered, it just accelerates a bigger move to the downside. Anyway, that's it for me. Hope it helps you somewhat, and we'll catch up with you later. Cheers for now.